Hey y'all, it's David Ducker coming back at you. And today, going to be celebrating 150 subscribers. Gotta catch them all. And I finally did. Because we know there's no 151st running around out there. It's all done. It's accomplished. 100% completion. It's been a while since I did a celebration video. I'm trying to find an excuse to celebrate, actually, because Sirko Ruckmann just tagged me in a video asking 15 questions. This has been going around the RPG community. I've seen it out there on Role Players Anonymous, excellent forum, on DMs and GMs, excellent forum, on several other forums as well. Those, of course, are the top two. But he's asking me 15 questions. I usually only talk about myself, ramble about my channel, my celebration videos. So I found an excuse to do that today with 150 subscribers. Why not? So I'm going to go through his questions here. What was the first system that you played? And for me, it was actually... Oh, get ready for it. Get ready for the pain. Oh, it was Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, I feel dirty. Oh, I feel dirty just talking about it, reliving it. I have not suppressed the memory, however. But this proves that even if you start at the bottom, you can work your way all the way up. All the way up to the mid-card, where I now reside, in the middle of the road. But I was actually a GM, or as they call it, a DM. Running the game for my brother. We had both got the 3 core rule books. That's right, we paid 3 times the amount for only half of the content. So we shelled out, a heinous amount of money for one game, because we were young and we didn't know any better. But I GM'd for him. We ran, get ready for this, a module. Oh Lord, the pain. We ran a module. Because, of course, even though we paid 3 times as much, it never told us how to write a story or run a story. And, in fact, they still don't at that company, that system. But, so we had to, shell out more money and buy a module. Although we actually use one of their free modules online. But it was, of course, a module designed for 4 players to come through. At least 4. And we had one. It was solo session. I was running just for my brother, and he came through as a ninja. There were no rules for a ninja, but he was a ninja, and he came through and completed the entire adventure just for himself. And I wasn't gonna lay down for him, so I presented it realistically. He was sneaking into a smuggling or privateer base camp, trying to assassinate some riverboat pirates, and I set the module didn't have enough detail, so I set the schedule for the guards for when they were coming and going and patrolling and at camp and who didn't like who. So he came in, Metal Gear Solid style and snuck around, sniped some people out, set some rivalries against each other, stole someone's fancy jewelry and planted it in someone else's pocket. They knew they didn't like each other and they started brawling. And then he sniped someone who was watching the fight as the two killed each other. But finally it came down to him and 3 pirates, and they're terrified at this point. They're all sitting in the room with all their backs to each other, looking out all the doors and windows. So finally he had to actually storm in and get in a brawl and fight these guys. And he did come up on top, just barely. So it was actually a strong adventure. He is naturally a good storyteller. I'm naturally a good storyteller. So there were no problems with that, despite what we had to work with. And of course, I often say though that the real test of an RPG or even a module is going to be, can you take someone who's new and have a good time with it? In this case, because we were, such quality, that did happen. But, if I'm thinking about a lot of the people I've ever gamed with, that wouldn't have happened. So anyway, that long story short, that's question 1. Because I'm apparently determined to make this video as long as possible. Question 2. what is your first character you ever played? Who was he? And for me, wow, it's Taiokia from the Water World. He was a Warhammer 40,000 guardsman from a water world consisting of archipelagos in a beautiful crystal blue sea until the Empire came, and they convinced the native people that that their planet itself was the Emperor, and and then they started setting up factories and polluting the ocean, and my character got pulled out and joined the Guard. To be a warrior among the stars, the big black ocean, which is space, and on all those tiny islands, which we know as planets. But he was based on pro wrestler Taiokia. I stole his name because nobody would recognize his name in my group. They didn't follow wrestling, especially Japanese wrestling, which is where Taiokia wrestles. He's a All Japan pro, former world champion too. Give up props to Taiokia. The Hawaiian Smasher, I believe they call him H50. But it's my first character, and he was a lot of fun because he was a primitive barbarian on a spaceship. You know, the great steel bird that flies through the black aether of space. And nobody ever thought to smarten him up. They're like, okay, whatever you say, Taio. Yeah. It's a great steel bird that flies through space with its metal wings. But they never smartened him up. And he had tattoos over half of his body, so he's split right down the middle. And when he got his armor, his guard armor, he made sure that he got designs on half of it to kind of match his tattoos up. So that was pretty cool. And of course, he was big on shotguns and kicking people in the face and up close and personal combat. And eating people, threatening to eat people alive, and taking their spirit into his body by consuming their flesh. So very, very fun character. 3, what is your favorite system? If you want to go with pure mechanics, I think I will give it to at this time Mutants and Masterminds 3rd edition. I crack a lot on D20 products, but this is actually a D20 product done right. And I find it superior to all these other games floating around, D6 system, BRP, Chronicle system, World of Darkness system. From what little I've seen of Fate, which is very little, so maybe if I research that I'll change my mind. Savage Worlds. I find the Mutants and Masterminds to be probably the strongest. If BRP could clean their act up, they might win. But as it stands, Mutants and Mastermind is probably the best one. 4, favorite character you've played. And that's PCs or NPCs. I'm just reading off his questions here. So the favorite character that I've played as a NPC was he was in our Pathfinder game actually. Man, I'm talking about D20 a lot. This is gonna ruin my reputation. But it was actually a character Czar. He was the Archmage of Transmutation for a great city at the center of the world, Speria. And he was actually a bullywug who transmuted himself into a human so he could go on a quest for Sathagwa, the great old one of the swampy depths. And he ended up in the middle of this desert pursuing his mad visions. And just the dialogue that I got out of him was so much fun. And he was so different from everybody else in the campaign, or maybe everybody else I've ever actually played, that he was so much fun. My favorite PC, though, I'm going to give you 2 answers because we're making this video as long as possible for no apparent reason. Favorite PC, I played a Paladin of Calastria, an elf named Alistair, Sir Alistair, that is, Sir Alistair de Vries. And that was also in a Pathfinder game. My man Tyson was running Pathfinder, but he was just such a stuck-up, stereotypical right-wing style elf, and he was all full of bigotry and racism and sexism and just every kind of ism. he was, you know, a terrible person because he followed the letter of his religion and the tradition of his society to the law. And as we went through the campaign and he started to see the real world, I started to realize things weren't exactly how he thought they were. And some of these races that he thought were just animals had real souls inside of them. So he's a very complex character because he started way over on the right wing, and then slowly he was growing over to the left. Unfortunately, that campaign was cut short because it was Pathfinder, and there were problems we had with the rules. The GM was a new GM, and he made mistakes because he was new. I'm sure he would only be better today, but sadly I didn't get to play that character to fruition. Question 5, what is the least favorite character you played? PC or NPC? The least favorite one. The one I don't remember, because everyone I remember, they were awesome. I don't remember doing anything that I would be really ashamed of later. 6, what is your favorite world? So I'm going to take that as like a published campaign setting. Warhammer Fantasy springs to mind. It's got so much depth and detail. The other one that springs to mind is Golarion, the Pathfinder setting. I don't like the Pathfinder rule set, but a lot of their writing is really strong and it redeems it. And Golarion has a lot of really good writing in there. So I'm going to throw those two at you. I'd probably put Warhammer a little above, but Golarion is one that I think was often overlooked as well. Favorite die size? Is it the D4? Is it the D100? Is it anything in between there? Let's say D6, because everybody is familiar with the D6. 8, miniatures or theater of the mind? It's always theater of the mind, except when it isn't. We did use miniatures once, and it was fine. It was incredibly slow, but for the right job, you can find a tool that does that job, and sometimes miniatures is going to be that. But it's definitely not my default. I default way away from miniatures. 9, worst critical glitch or failure in a game. Let's metagame. Let's say the worst failure or glitch in a game was Aaron destroyed the elf tree in the middle of the desert in our Pathfinder game. These elves were living in this magical tree in the middle of the desert. Aaron came in and fucking killed the tree, and thus we had all of these elves, like 10,000 elves, become refugees overnight, and that really forced the campaign into a certain direction that it wasn't ready to go in because of our player base. If we had good players, no problem. There's never a problem if you have good players, but we didn't have good players. Or enough of them, rather, to really make that experience pop. And I talked about that a little in my video, Player Burnout, because the one good player we had was doing so much work. He was like a co-GM, because he had no one helping him. And me as the GM, you know, I pretty much do the same amount of work regardless of who shows up. And that is actually sufficient, that it was fine on my end, but on his end, it burned him out so bad. 10, best favorite critical success in a game. So what's the best success that we got going on? I'm trying to think of like a one roll single incident thing. The one that springs to mind is Scotty Diamond and I believe it was Mike Lopez were sneaking in. They got lost in a hedge maze labyrinth. They found a cultist of minotaurs and satyrs at the center with all these human, what they thought were captives and turned out to be cultists, which was awesome. And they were going to set an orc princess on fire. They had a pyre and she was lashed to big log, and she was up there with her arms tied behind her back, and the Minotaur priest is lumbering towards him with the torch to set her on fire. And Scotty gets his arrow out, boom, and he rolls the critical success, and he pins the torch to the head of the Minotaur with his arrow. The Minotaur's head catches on fire. The cultists start panicking. The satyrs start panicking. The cultists flee. The satyrs start slaughtering them like animals. But as far as like one single action that really changed the course of an adventure, that was the one that springs to mind. And that was an excellent adventure as well. What are we on? 11. Favorite class or type of character to play? Well, I don't play in a lot of class-based systems because I don't like to be limited and held inside of a box. But let's say cleric or priest, because a cleric or a priest is tied into the culture of the world around them. So it's much easier to get integrated with the setting when you're a priest or a cleric. So let's throw that out there. 12. Least favorite class or type of character to play. So if I had to be really specific, let's pick on Pathfinder, and let's pick on the monk, because they just don't fit into everything else presented in that book. They just don't fit with everything else. And that's always the worst thing to do, is to stick out like a sore thumb, unless it's the best thing to do. But usually it's the worst. So let's say the monk, just for that flavor reason, followed closely by the bard, because they also don't make any sense from a kind of cosmological perspective. It's like, where does your magic come from? And they never answer this. If they did, even if it was a bad answer, no problem. But they don't. They just, I'm a guy with magic. Like, oh, where did you learn your magic? Like, I don't know. I just have magic. Well, we know where the sorcerer gets his magic. We know where the wizard gets his magic. The cleric, the druid, the ranger, the paladin. We know where these guys are coming from. Where are you coming from? And as the bard, you don't even know, because it's not written down for you. And that's a major problem. There's not enough detail to roleplay that class. Let's see, what was I on? 13, lucky 13. One system or setting you've never played but want to play. Well, eventually I want to play every system, but one that springs to mind, I've heard, it's a tie. I've heard great things about Fate, mainly from John Large, and I've heard great things about Savage Worlds from Kurt Weigel. So either or both of those. I was almost in a Fate game, but the format of the play-by-post was terrible. I'm sorry, guys. For me, it was terrible. So I quit that game very quickly. 14. If you were to create yourself as a character, what class would you be? Again, I don't like class-based systems, but you know, if we could get some kind of wrestling class in there, like because that's the most useful thing I do in combat. And if you're taking class-based, you're taking combat-based. So let's get me some wrestling feats on there. 15. Who are you going to tag? So he wants me to tag 3 people who will also answer these 15 questions. So, you know, everyone I think that I want to tag has already been tagged, and they've already done videos. I was going to tag John Large and Samwise7 and Andrew Wood. Those would be the 3 people that spring to mind, other than Sirko, who's the one who tagged me. But other than those 3, I guess I would just tag everyone who's watching this who hasn't done any videos yet. Start making your own videos. Start telling the world about you, about your style. If the hobby has given anything to you, give something back to the hobby, and just try to help somebody improve their game just a tiny little bit. So that's about it. That's the 15 questions. I haven't really gotten any other questions since my 100th subscriber celebration. So this is the 150th subscriber celebration. Thank all of you for subscribing, for liking the videos, for commenting. I think comments are even better, or video responding. Those are excellent as well. Especially if you disagree with me, then we can educate the people from 2 points of view, from 2 perspectives, and they'll become even more intelligent, even stronger as role players. So I'm going to sign out now, and I hope everybody has a good day. Cheers.